Speaking of the Democrats, Kamala Harris, big Politico story today. First story of this kind that I've seen. You can put up the headline, please. In which the balance of the piece is very much favorable towards the concept of her having a political future. And it says, she might run for governor of California, she might run for president again, but that, she was a great candidate. None of this was her fault. She's got tons of political capital, tons of goodwill. It's much more bullish on her prospects to either be the governor of California and a dominating figure and win that race, or run for president and not clear the field, but be a dominating figure and a big player than we have been on this program. So, Dan, after reading the Politico story, did you decide you were wrong and Kamala Harris, the demand side for Kamala Harris is quite high?
No, I think that the same type of thing could have been written about Al Gore, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton. Yes, the kind of establishment like poo-pooed them, but if you had done a poll right after, in January of 2001, I think Al Gore was at like 40%. Like everyone wanted him to do it again. So it doesn't surprise me that the perception is that she is the leader of the party. I think we've talked here about, so far the stories are about Joe Biden should have gotten out sooner. The problem with the left on woke issues, they couldn't penetrate on the economy. What hasn't happened yet are stories about her as a candidate, right? Why did they not, when they had the data that we've talked about for months, did they not drill down on immigration or the economy? There's been, I think, two stories, one in which supposedly she didn't go on Joe Rogan because they were afraid of offending interest groups. I think you will start to see more stories about her limitations as a candidate, because I believe that what cost her in 2024, and I've said before, I think this was a very winnable race this time around, even though she came in July and all the advantages that Trump had, is that the same character attributes that sunk her in 19 sunk her in 24, which is extreme caution, inability to make quick and nimble decisions, being afraid to offend various interest groups. So when you say you're going to run again, Ronald Reagan ran 3 times, but each time he ran, he was the same candidate with pretty much the same message, and he kept building on his momentum, getting stronger and stronger. She has never shown an ability to build off momentum. I mean, she had maybe the greatest launch in the history of presidential politics this time around, and kind of slowly the air came out of the balloon. And I think that whether who is going to force these questions about her as a candidate are her opponents. People who are thinking about 2028, they've got very skilled staff. They're going to start to leak stories to make sure that she doesn't jump to the front of the line and cut them out. And I don't think any Democrat fears her in 2028. They know she'd be a legit, somebody to have to deal with, but they don't fear that she's a dominant, strong candidate.
Yeah, let's just the Politico article basically laid out three scenarios. First is running for governor in 2026. And there's, within the article, I don't necessarily agree that the authors have their pulse on California from Washington, but they think that she'll clear the field from all the other folks that would be popular in Florida. And potentially, just as a side note, that she could then still maybe run for president. I don't agree with that. But then 2 is that she runs straight up 2028. And then 3 is that she gets on boards and whatever and makes money. I have a hard time believing somebody that's never had a private sector job is going to choose number 3. I mean, I'd take the money and go sit on a beach, but I have a hard time. So I have a feeling that she ends up running for governor. To me, it would still be a huge, it's a big platform to have. She could probably get it a lot easier than and a lot quicker, right? It gives her something to pivot to much sooner than hoping that she stays alive till 2028.
So I was asked the question when somebody's potentially up for a job like that is not, can they win? And I think her chances of winning are overrated in that story. It's, does she want the job? Does she really want to go live in Sacramento, fight with liberals in the legislature, take over a state that's got some problems? I'm just not sure she wants to be governor of California. And if she has to be, well, if she has to be governor for a full term before she can run for president again, that to me, that's not a great bet if it's just a stepping stone. So if you don't want the job and it's not a great stepping stone, I'm just skeptical that she'd decide that was a thing to do. Dan.
Yeah, and I still, what's missing from running for governor of California or president is why do you want it? Like, what
Correct.
is animating you to want to like go and fix? Like, Hillary Clinton always talked about wanting to help kids. You know, Al Gore's got climate change. We still don't know why she wanted to be president in 20, why she wanted to be president, other than, as Sean, you said, she's been in government for 30 years. She doesn't really know what's next. She's been on the cusp of like the highest office now for the last several years. And California governors, if you can't be president, maybe she's thinking is, but I'm not, Mark, I agree with you. I don't even know who would fear her for governor if she can't, she doesn't have a reason to run. She can't take positions that are clear. You have what happened in San Francisco where the school board got flipped over because of focus on woke issues. The mayor of San Francisco just went down because of the inability to deal with crime. You're going to have to step in and say, well, where are you on all these issues?
There'd be somebody to her right and somebody to her left.
Yep.
And I'm not sure how she handles that because that's back to her key weakness.
I also don't know the dynamics enough, but I would tell you that I wouldn't, if I were Gavin Newsom, I don't want her back in the state, you know, with a platform. It's one more complicating factor.